Hello, super quick intro. Today I'm going to be showing you how you can solve the Hanayama Ultra Guard puzzle, which means I'm going to give you hopefully the easiest way to separate all 5 pieces of the Ultra Guard and then how you can reassemble them back into their original position. Let's get straight into it. Okay, so here we have a fully assembled Ultra Guard puzzle. The first thing we need to do to separate this one is identify which of the arms and the orientation for this top shell piece, which if we flip it upside down and look at the bottom, you can see a Hanayama engraving in here. We want that arm that has the Hanayama engraving in the sort of the top right position here. Next, we need to identify a certain point on these 3 cylinder pieces. We want the bit that is sort of half land, half sea. So this one here is mostly sea. You can tell that because of all the lines that are on it. This one is mostly land because it's mostly land, and this one's sort of a few lines and a bit of land as well. And what we want is the half and half one in sort of this top 3rd position with this line pointing straight down towards us as we're looking down on it. And now we know that within a few millimeters, because there is room for error on this one because there's no real point that we can use as a reference. We now know that these 3 pieces are in the right orientation relative to this bit, but now we need to work out where the correct position is to this bottom shell piece. And to do that, we're simply going to hold it still. We're going to try and clamp these 3 cylinder pieces down and keep them still relative to this top piece, as we then rotate the bottom piece until it drops down into this position. Now I've done that quite quickly. That can take a lot of trial and error. If you spin 360 degrees and it doesn't drop, just play around with where it is relative to this piece in here. But hopefully this gives you a good idea of where you need to be. Once we've got that, and once they've dropped down, we're going to clamp together on the 2 shell pieces, because we now know that the gap in those 2 pieces is between here and here, and that's why that piece can drop down. And we're going to use the piece that has dropped down as a handle to rotate it anti-clockwise till we get to a point where this piece here with the lines on it drops down. And if you're in exactly the right place, it'll actually drop down twice, which you should have seen then, or hopefully you did see then. So in this position, we've got this piece here with the land on it that is at the same level that it was originally. We've got this piece here next to it, or the sort of in the bottom left position, which has dropped down 1 level, and this piece here with all the lines on it that has dropped down 2 levels. Once we've got to this position, we can then twist the piece that's now on the very bottom underneath this piece here. And as we twist that around, we'll get it to a position where we're going to put this bit back in here. And when we're in the right position, unfortunately my thumb was covering it, but this piece will just drop straight out the bottom. And once we've done that, it's relatively easy to take out the other pieces, because we can now see the gap. You might not be able to see it on camera as clearly as I can here, but we can now see the gaps in the shell pieces. And all we have to do is, first of all, line up the piece that's dropped down 1 level. So we're going to rotate it around to here. And when those pieces are lined up, we can then drop it out the bottom, just like that. And then these 3 pieces can pretty much just fall apart in your hands. And that is how we disassemble the Ultra Guard puzzle. And for reassembling the Ultra Guard puzzle, it's much easier than taking it apart was, because we can actually see where the gaps are. And that's the first thing we're going to do. We're going to take the 2 shell pieces. We're going to make sure that the actual ridges are on the inside of the puzzle as opposed to the outside of the puzzle here. And we're going to line the gaps up and then clamp down on those 2 shell pieces as much as we can, because that'll make everything else much easier. Next, it's just about the order at which we put these back so that we reassemble the map in the correct position. Now you may have noticed that one of the pieces is slightly different, not regarding the patterns on top, but this piece has a groove in here where the other pieces don't, and that is what is important as to which piece drops down first and the order in which it happens. So first of all, that piece is going in second. We need to take the piece that has most of the map, or the land, sorry, not the map, most of the land on it, and we're going to place that directly on top. So that is going to be flush and level without knocking it out with the top shell piece. So that position, that piece isn't going to move relative to height. Next, we're going to put in the half land, half water piece, or the bit with the groove in it. We're going to place that in, and we're going to turn it anti-clockwise into this position. And we're going to turn it all the way around to here so that we now have room to place the last piece up in this position here. Now with this piece, it's not going to go as far because it's stuck under this piece here. But what we don't want to do is rotate anything anti-clockwise. Instead of turning the bottom piece, all we're going to do is hold the bottom piece in position, and then we're going to grab the top two pieces, turn them clockwise until there is room for this piece that we've just put in to come all the way back to the top. So again, you might not be able to see it because of the angle, but at the minute we've got two pieces. These two pieces are in the correct position, or their original position, and this one in the bottom left is just down one level. But because we've got these two pieces clamped together, we know the gap is from here to here. So all we're going to do is rotate it around to where the gap is, and then going to push it back up into position. And then to lock it in place, we're simply going to twist the shell pieces, and that is how we reassemble the Ultra Guard puzzle. So there it is, that is how you disassemble and then reassemble the Ultra Guard puzzle. This one can be extremely frustrating, trying to line everything up in the right place to start with, and then clamping down can be quite hard as well because there's no real way of knowing if it's moved a millimeter or two, which in this case, or in this puzzle's case, is very important because of how tight everything has to be to eventually get it all separated. But hopefully this video has helped you solve your Ultra Guard puzzle. If you do have any problems, then comment below and I'll do whatever I can to help you. And thank you very much for being here. If you want to see me struggle through the Ultra Guard puzzle for the first time, or if you want to see the solutions to any of these other Hanayama puzzles, then be sure to click my face here to subscribe, and I will see you next time. Peace!